Rob, 3 from 3 so far, but probably an acid test this weekend going to Sale.
Yes, I mean, traditionally always one of our toughest games, but one oddly the guys always really look forward to. I actually think some of our best, most emotional performances have been up at Sale. Well, I think we know because I think we know we have to, and I'm looking forward to it. As you say, it'll be a good test of us. A different test physically to probably the last couple of weeks, which are going to be interesting to run in a couple of our guys from last season with Johnny and Flat. So there's lots of little things going on there, but one where, you know, if you're sitting near the top of the table, up there unbeaten as well, you know, these are the clashes you should really look forward to.
40 minutes at the weekend was superb, but then you had a 30-minute spell where it probably wasn't so good, and you've gone through that this week. What lessons have you learned from the Quins game?
Obviously, you know, but there's still some things defensively that we're betting in, you know, and there's still got to be some clarity amongst some of the lads on exactly what we do, exactly how we set up around some of our set piece defence. We've had an opportunity to have a good chat through that, good walk through it, good talk through it, work on some of those things. So I've got no doubt some of those areas will improve, especially given a little bit of time. I think the area in some ways that I was also a little concerned about was probably we didn't quite grasp how important other areas of that game were. So as a perfect example, one of the biggest reasons why the first half went so well for us because we were so disciplined with the ball. We just didn't give up ball easily. And I think what you saw, we started the second half really brightly, but then really we got ourselves into a great try scoring opportunity, and we kind of mess around a bit on the Harlequins try line until we get turned over. And that kind of then creates that period for them where they get the ball back and we kept giving it to them. You know, we got ill discipline, we gave up a lot of penalties within that period. We actually gave the ball up, either getting turned over at clear outs or throwing passes that were on knock-ons, etc. We became a bit sloppy in attack, and actually a lot of the things that we saw as issues, which they're good now, you know, after you win the game you get your 5 points, it's good to work on some defensive issues. But the big element of that game was how we could have kept the ball and that could have controlled Harlequins. A little bit like when we played Leicester a couple of weeks earlier, if we'd have maintained our kicking discipline and structure, we could have taken away at least 2 scoring opportunities for Leicester that made that game interesting. And I think those are the big learn-ons from me, is when we learn that against certain teams there are certain key elements that give you control and really wrestle the game away from them. I think we've learned some really important lessons in 2 very different games, and that for me probably creates a really nice positive situation for us going forward.
We've seen in the opening 2 home games in particular the fight that there is from the lads, and perhaps next season you probably admit it yourself, we would have lost those games, wouldn't we? But we've come through and got the points.
Potentially. I mean, we won some important games last season as well. I think it's too simplistic to just say, oh, well, we've won a couple of tight games now and we lost some tight games last year. We did lose some tight games last year. We'll probably lose some tight games this year. But I think the bigger picture is we look like we can score tries against everybody and anybody. You know, that's a really important part of it. We've got great energy. We've got a great vibe about the group. We've got a great desire. You know, the old, what I was saying before, you know, if we get beaten, it's only because we're going to run out of time. You know, the boys are starting to stress that mantra a little bit. But it's certainly created some interesting games, and we look like we've got an exciting group working very hard together.
What are the threat of Sale? What are you expecting? As you say, physical threat always is up there, but they've added some talent in there as well.
They've been playing very well. I mean, and some of the talent they've added is not yet available for them. You know, for me, they look a good side. They look prepared to work hard, well organised. You know, they're playing some good rugby. You know, we're going to have to turn up properly. You know, it's going to be a proper tough game of rugby. But we're looking forward to the trip. You know, it's, you know, the guys will tell you, you know, I always say that one of the best opportunities they get to really enjoy themselves as a team is, you know, they'll get on the bus tomorrow lunchtime, they'll spend 3 or 4 hours together, they can do a couple of quizzes, have some fun together, pass the time on the bus. The bus is very comfortable. They get to a hotel, nice food, they got a nice evening together, can properly relax, have a lie-in. Everything can really build you up for a big performance, and we want to make sure we make the most of that. We want to make sure we make the most of those 2 days and come back with exactly what we want, you know, and that should be something that can start to cement a group of players together.
Just a quick word on Sam Simmons. We confirmed at the weekend he'll be leaving at the end of the season. Just give us your thoughts on that, and how disappointing, or is it just one of those things now?
Of course it's disappointing. He's a good player and he's a good guy and he's an important person here and in the success we've had. You know, I actually sat in this room with him when he grabbed me and said, look, I need to talk to you. I think people might think there was some long drawn out contract negotiation that's turned sour. Literally, we hardly even spoke about contract negotiation because there wasn't any point. The differences in what was available here within the cap compared to what was on offer meant there wasn't really any argument. There wasn't anything I could say about him saying. I said to him, look, I'm disappointed you're going, but I'm really pleased for you. You've got such a great opportunity. I think people who are looking from the outside probably don't understand that. We ask our lads to work extremely hard, work hard to be successful together, buy into sacrificing for each other. That's how you'll be successful. What does success look like for a professional rugby player? It means getting good contracts. It means helping each other get good contracts by playing well and being successful. This is what happens. If you win Heineken Cups, you become European Player of the Year. Somebody is going to want you, and somebody's going to be prepared to pay a lot of money. That's not a bad thing. If over the next 10 years we lose 10 European Players of the Year, we've probably won 7 or 8 Heineken Cups. I'm going to be pretty pleased with that scenario. So it's not all negatives. That's kind of what it's got to be about. We get here. If the players work hard to improve themselves and work hard to be successful for the team, they deserve all the credits they can get for it, all the rewards that are there. This is not. I don't see things like this as a negative. As I said, if all our players prove to be so successful that they get these kind of contract offers, we'll probably be a very successful rugby club.
And he's obviously got a job to do for one more season here.
And Sam's a good guy. He looked to me. He looks ready to go. He has had an extended break, but he looks fresh. He looks ready to go, and he's going to play a huge part in whether we're successful or not this season.